science lesson, we're going to continue our learning all about light. But to recap from last lesson, we are going to do our three lasts. So you have 3 questions to answer, one from last lesson, one from last term, and one from last year. So we've got how does light travel? That was from last lesson. Last term, which organ helps to absorb nutrients into the bloodstream? Choose one. So you've got stomach, small intestine, or large intestine. And then the last year question is just a statement that says the human gestation period is 40 weeks. If you're not sure what gestation means, it means how long that a human would carry a baby for. True or false? The answers are on the next slide for you. As you can see on the slide, you've got the answers. So how does light travel? It is correct, it does travel in a straight line. Well done if you got that one right. That's really important that we remember that for our topic of light. It's half term. For last term, which organ helps to absorb nutrients into the bloodstream? It is the small intestine. It is its responsibility to pick out the nutrients and allow them to absorb through into the bloodstream so that their blood can carry it to where it is needed. And then the last year question, the human gestation period is 40 weeks. That is true. Okay, thank you. Our new learning objective for this lesson, which is to understand how we see. Now this is really important because this will link to light. So light and the eye work really closely together, and we're going to have a look at that for this lesson. Just before Christmas, we are doing Word Aware, which is where we learn new words linked to our topic in science. So this week we actually have 2 words, and the first word that we have is retina. So if you say it and I will say it. So I say retina, you say, I say retina, you say. Okay, and if we clap out the syllables, so it is retina. So we've got 3 syllables, okay? If you want to have a couple of goes at that, it is retina. Okay, and the definition of the retina is a layer at the back of the eye which gathers messages to send to the brain to create images. Okay, so a layer at the back of the eye which gathers messages to send to the brain to create images. Word 2, I will say it, you say it. Cornea, you say. I say cornea, you say. Okay, and the syllables there, we've got cornea. Okay, again, 3 syllables, cornea, the cornea. Okay, and the definition of that is the transparent layer at the front of the eye. And there's a small diagram just in the corner for you to visually see that. You can see the retina is at the back of the eye and the cornea at the front. Okay, and that should help us to learn some new words all linked to the eye. We looked at how light travelled last week, and we learned that it travels only in straight lines. So the diagram below shows a visual representation of how light travels. So we have our light source, which is the sun, but you could have any light source for that. It could be a torch, a phone, a TV, okay? But in this instance, we have the sun. And the sun projects the light onto our object here in the diagram being an apple. So the light shines in a straight line, not bending at all, onto the apple. And then at this point, the light hits the apple and reflects off the apple into the eye. Again, you will notice that the arrows are completely straight, drawn with a ruler, and they do not bend. So light travels from a light source onto an object, reflects off the object and into the eye. Again, this slide just gives some more detail about how light helps us to see. And again, here you've got the sun as the light source. It shines in a straight line onto the tree, and then the reflected light shines into the human eye. And that is how our light helps us to see objects. So you can have a little look further at that on there. Now you've seen some examples of how light travels. There's a third example for you here, and I would like you to write a description about what is happening. So which is the light source, explain the direction the light travels, and explain how the light travels. So you need things like straight lines and reflection. Those are the key words that I am looking for in your description. Your turn to draw one of the scientific diagrams as before with the 3 previously. So you are going to choose your light source, you are going to choose your objects, and you are going to show a diagram of the human eye and demonstrate how light travels from the light source to an object and is reflected into the eye. Please ensure you use a ruler. It will not be correct if a ruler is not used. Now watch this video and see how the eye works and allows light into it. It's got many different parts, and we will go into a bit more detail about that when we come to look at a worksheet alongside this. So this bit is just a bit of a practical look at how your pupils work, so following on from the video. So before you do anything, you need to be in front of a mirror or have a hand mirror in front of you, and just have a look at your pupils, the black dot in your eye. Have a look. What do you notice about the size? Are they big, small? What are you thinking at this point? So then you're going to cover your eyes with your hands, but when you cover them, close your eyes as well. You want to try and make it as dark as possible behind your eyes. But being stood in front of the mirror, having the mirror there would be best, because then after 20 seconds, you can either use a timer, you can just count down. You're going to uncover your eyes and look straight in the mirror. Notice, was your pupil any bigger than what it was like before? Has it gotten smaller? Note down any of your observations and just have a think. They should have gotten bigger as soon as you removed your hands. Now, why do you think that is? So you should be thinking that pupil is the part that your lens controls to open it and close it a little bit. So it should have at this point allowed more light to come in because it wants to be able to see. So your pupil should have actually gotten bigger at this point. Have a few goes, see if you notice anything. And it's just a quick activity to get you knowing that your eyes do move and those pupils get bigger and smaller with the amount of light that is around them. As part of this assignment, there is a worksheet that goes alongside it, and each part has a definition to go alongside the job of it. So it says retina, and then it says what to do, cornea tells you what to do, optic nerve tells you all about that. So if you could use those, label the diagram. There is a separate sheet with that on as well. Label the diagram and put a brief understanding of what each part of the eye does and how it works to allow light in to let us see. This just follows on from the last slide. So use all of the worksheets that are together on this assignment and label the diagram of an eye. It looks very different to what you would look at face on an eye, but this is the whole eye. So each part of it, the bit at the back of the eye, the optic nerve that connects to the brain to send the images to, all of that is there. There is also a help sheet that gives you the clear definitions of each part, and if you just want to label it on there, there is also an uploaded image of a labelled eye so that you can see that, and that will help you to label the eye carefully. Use this diagram to help you label the diagram that you have, and then you can also add on the functions of each part of the eye from the sheet which is attached, which has the definitions and functions for each part of the eye. This diagram is just here to help you, and it's a guidance point to have a quick look back at and to see if you can recognise any of the parts. Or if you get stuck, have a look back at this and this should help you. Just make sure once you've labelled them that you add on what the job of each of those is, because that's a very important part. All of them work together in order to help you see with the use of light.